views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDB-TV. Welcome to the best of Nevada business.
Small business,
big business,
And
family-owned business.
it's all right here on the best of Nevada business.
Hi, and welcome to the best of Nevada business. Nevada, the silver state with golden opportunities. And today, I have one of my favorite interviews of all time, and I think of all future time, Kent Wilson.
How you doing, Beth?
I'm doing good. Wait till you hear what Kent does. Kent is a certified weapons instructor. In fact, last Sunday, Grady and I took a class from him, and it was the most awesome class. So, of course, I said, you have got to be on my show. So here you are.
Yes.
So tell us, how did you get into weapons and into becoming a weapons instructor? What happened?
I've been in firearms industry for quite a long time. I was raised around them. My father was studying police science when he was young. And being in the part of that industry and studying for it, he had firearms. My grandfather and his grandfather had firearms.
Wow.
So we were raised around them as kids. Growing up, I had the opportunity to learn a lot about them without,
Without being afraid.
Yeah, exactly.
See, because you know what, when I grew up, I was not around guns. I think my dad had a BB gun. Now, my husband Grady grew up with guns, but I appreciate that your family taught you about guns because you're comfortable from the get-go, right?
Correct, yes. There was nothing, I was actually taught very young, so the more I was around them, I never had a fear. I always had confidence. I knew how to handle them, and it wasn't to a degree like I was trained with them for professional purposes, but I at least knew what safety was.
Exactly.
So.
And to me, the most important thing is the safety. Yes. You have to know what you're doing. Then that's why I took your class. Right. It wasn't so much, I did get a concealed carry permit. Oh, we did go to the police station and do all our paperwork.
You did your paperwork? That's awesome.
We did all our paperwork
awesome.
Tuesday. Who would have thought at my age I'm doing this? But it's exciting.
And you did awesome. You did awesome in the class.
Thank you. I did get a good score. It was kind of cool. But you know what? I noticed I beat a couple of the guys. I was looking at their targets. And you know what I think it was? Because I took my time.
Yes.
I took my time, cocked it, aimed, shot. Some of those guys were like boom, 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 boom. They were trying to rush.
When we're on the line, we're always telling you, take your time with it. You're qualifying, you're showing competency with your firearm. I'll be there all day for you. My biggest thing is to make sure that you're comfortable and you feel at ease while you are qualifying.
And you know what? You accomplished that because taking his class did make me very, very, very comfortable with the gun. It really did. And I learned so much from you. And listen, Grady grew up with guns, but he learned some things too. So I do suggest anybody out there, you need to take a class. And Gun Fu, where did you get that? I'm going to put it right up here.
Awesome.
Gun Fu, where did you get the name for this business?
In addition to growing up with firearms, I'd been in sports and things like that. And the martial arts discipline, which my father was a part of also, has a belt system that kind of shows you, kind of lays a path out for you on how to learn things. I trained with a number of instructors in my past, and there's always this gap in the way people teach others. And I found that as a student, in addition to other people in the classroom that were taking classes with me, there was like a missing step somewhere sometimes. And you'd go from one class into the next one, and I've been raised around firearms my whole time, but you wouldn't have that confidence. You would end up spending most of your time trying to grasp what was being taught.
You know, that makes sense, because even, I know when we had the class Sunday, you were showing different holsters.
Yes.
And you made a comment as to the teacher in the next class over didn't like this particular holster, but you did, and you explained why. And that's what I really like about his class, because I liked when you said, I'm not telling you what to pick or what to buy, you pick what you like for you, but here's all the different reasoning
Yes.
why I like this better than this. And it's a very effective way to teach. You did a great job.
I do believe that firearms are very much like music, and some people always ask me, like, what do you mean by that? If you turn the radio on, you have a handful of people in a vehicle with you, and you turn the radio on, some of those people are going to like that radio station. Other people are going to be like, oh, I'll just tolerate it. And some people may not like it at all.
Yeah.
Firearms are very much the same way, and I try to make that concept grow with people and have them understand it, that just because this person has this firearm doesn't mean that's all that's available to you. You must find that, as I call it, your radio station or your song that speaks to you, that sings to you, that makes you, when you pick up that firearm, you're like, I like the way this feels. This meets everything that I need, want, and I'm looking for in a firearm. But the thing is that you put that same firearm in someone else's hand, they may feel something completely different, and it may not sing to them the same way. So I always say that that's their radio station.
Now, you know what? That's very interesting. I hope that's interesting to you guys out there. And here's what that says to me, because I've not bought my own gun. I've been using Grady's.
Correct.
But it's not just how it feels. How does it look? The way you load it? It's like a whole package, isn't
Correct,
it? Like
yes.
like listening to the whole song.
Correct.
It's like a whole package. See, it's very interesting. Did you guys out there know that? I didn't. This is really cool. So, did you bring anything for show and tell for us today?
I did actually. When I did the CCW class, when I was teaching you and Grady, going through all the laws that we spoke of Nevada, Utah, and the other states, I demonstrated proper holsters, the firearms that I carry, how you carry them, and things like that. So I brought with it because it was something that you guys were both familiar with that I showed. But also, like some of the vendors I use are like silver bullet concealment holsters. I always like to demonstrate to the class holsters and equipment that I actually use, that I put through test. So if I say, hey, this is what sings to me, this is my song, this is what I use, but I also can back it up and say, I've put this through the rigors and it stood up. So if you're interested, at least I know the product stands for itself. So these are some of the show and tell stuff that I like to share with people. I use silver bullet concealment holsters. I love my HKs, so there's my concealed carry firearm that I use and demonstrate two-person checks with and whatnot that we do in the classroom. But yeah, those are the things that I use as items to show and actually say, not only do I teach this, this is what I use in my everyday use. So if I'm saying that I'm doing something, I'm backing it up.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And how long have you been doing the classes?
I've been training firearms instruction for a few years now. I got into defensive firearms training back in 2007, 2008, and started really diving deeper into the principles and philosophies of it right about the 2009, following a couple of phenomenal instructors at that period of time, and just kind of stuck with it, and then branching out to a number of other disciplines and instruction over the years. And so I'm constantly training and getting myself up to the next level, and then sharing that information with students. So I've actually been doing the instruction side to students for about the last 5-6 years.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. That is. So what's your favorite thing to teach, or is there?
You know what? My favorite thing to teach right now, I have to say, is probably Out of the Box, which is a class that I created, and One with Your Gun, because they're my two introductory classes. Those are for folks that have never owned a firearm before or never shot before, and actually creating that awesome foundation where they start building their own confidence. The other class I really like, because it opens up someone's mind and their approach to things, is the concealed carry classes. I do teach them. and provide a lot of information, not only from what the state regulates and mandates, but also putting that information out there to show it's not just about carrying a firearm concealed. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with it.
Exactly.
And all the information that goes with it. So
there really is. And I'll tell you one thing that I really loved that you said in class. Let me tell you, girls out there, he started talking about tasers and pepper spray because a lot of us girls, not everybody, but a lot of us are kind of afraid of guns. You know, it's true, because we didn't grow up with it, whatever the reason, we're kind of afraid of it. We let that be the guy thing. But, you know, you can't be afraid. But when we are afraid, we go to tasers, we go to pepper spray, and he was talking about all that. And I just happened to buy a taser. I'll show it to you later. And, you know, he said you have to practice with it. And I'm thinking, practice? And I'm thinking, how can you practice with pepper spray? And it never occurred to me that if you spray somebody and the wind blows it back, you just got yourself. Now, maybe a lot of you are saying, Beth, why didn't you think of that? Well, I didn't, so there's got to be other girls out there that didn't think of it either. Yeah. And even if you do spray somebody and you walk into it, you just got yourself.
True, very true.
Because if whatever it is, if you haven't practiced anything, when that situation arises, I think you're going to just freeze or do the wrong thing.
Correct. Yeah, there is a approach when you're put into a situation like that, and people don't go looking for it. Someone out there that has ill intentions chooses you, or actually sees that, hey, that looks like a potential target. So when you're put in a situation like that, your mindset does do one of two things. You're going to fight or flight, and you can't freeze.
Yeah, you can. You can. I mean, sometimes you don't know what you're going to do in a situation until you're in it, and that's the truth.
Yeah.
But I do believe with what's happening in the world, we have to start being as safely prepared as we can possibly be.
Yes, you have to take responsibility to be your own first responder. Police, first responders are minutes away, and you, in that situation, may only have tenths of seconds, hundreds of seconds to make a decision on something. And no one is going to be your champion. You have to be able to stand up and be able to handle the matter that is put right there in front of you, because police may not be there in time for it. So you have to be prepared for those things.
Correct. And even with the taser, the great advice, you probably don't know that this was such great advice to a girl, but it was. He said, if it's twilight or nighttime, it's a flashlight taser. Shine the light in their eyes and blind them first. I would have never thought of that.
Yeah. When it gets into low lighting, you get something that's 500 lumens or more, you hit them in the face of the light, you got to clear those blue spots out of your eyes.
Yeah, and that's a good way to get away, because you said you have to be kind of close to use a taser.
So yeah, term taser is actually something that you see the police using a lot. There's certification that's required for that. The item that tends to be over the counter, probably what you purchased, is more of a stun gun. So you have to actually make the skin contact or the contact with it and then hit the button, and that's what actually distributes the charge. But yes, unfortunately, there has to be a distance closed in order for that to be effective. So if you're a couple feet away and you hit it with a bright light and it's low lighting, that is an option. But you remember in the class, I also did say my favorite non-lethal weapon was this one right here.
Yes, show this. You're going to love this. You guys are going to love this. Go ahead.
So I did a lot of traveling internationally and whatnot. I used to take a tactical pen with me all over the place before TSA got smart to them and started confiscating them. I went to Home Depot and I saw this great line of Sharpies called Milwaukee. And what I love about it is that it actually has a slant top on it at the top of the cap and at the bottom. And if you actually put it in your hand, it makes a great little jab tool. It's inexpensive. You can get a 4-pack of multiple colors. But what's great about it, you put it in your pocket. You run through the TSA line, you run anywhere with it. You have something to write with at all times. But here's the one thing. You put a nice jab action to it, someone who's getting close to it, it gives you a nice fighting chance to get away. It gives you just enough, and it's non-lethal if drawing a firearm is not the option. So it's just something that I always told people. I said a little $4 investment, $5 investment, and it's probably one of the greatest things to have on you outside of having your own firearm.
And it's a Milwaukee Sharpie.
It's a Milwaukee Sharpie.
Because, the other ones have a round top.
Yes.
See? You know what? It's true. It fits your thumb really nicely. See? And
They do leave a nice little spot on you if you get tagged. I've had that happen a few times. So
Really?
yes.
Really? Well, if you were going to tell men and women one thing about if they're not familiar with guns, they're going to go buy a gun, what would be the first things you would tell them to do? To take a class first? Because I know a lot of girls recently, oh, I bought a gun. I've got a gun. Well, do you know how to use it? Well, no, I haven't even shot it yet. Do you think it's better to take a class first or buy a gun and then take a class?
In this day and age, the media tends to influence how people react to certain things. With that being said, I think everyone should exercise the right to own a firearm in some way, shape, or form. But however, I do stress that you must get training. CCW course, as an example, is not training. It is a course of information that the state mandates, and so you do end up learning a lot in a classroom setting. Then you qualify to show competency with your firearm, but it's not training.
Right, right.
My biggest thing is that if you're going to buy a firearm, you're taking on a new world of responsibility in something that's hidden,
Yes.
concealed
Yes.
on your persons and bags, something like that. I do highly recommend training at all. If you get a firearm, I do highly recommend training. Everyone should take some sort of course that gets them started to understand how to operate their firearm, from loading to unloading safely to storing to everything that's needed for owning a firearm. And then once you got that down, literally go to the next level and start training how to use it, not only defensively and for recreational purposes. You can actually use it for sporting, for outdoors and hunting and whatnot. But yes, I do highly recommend that if you're going to own a firearm, please
Right.
take training.
Yeah, you do. You need to be trained. So all the girls out there that got guns for Christmas because they were getting afraid, you have to get trained. And you think, I think, I'm just speaking for girls, but
Yeah.
okay, I know how to load it and shoot into the, you need to practice.
Yes.
You really do need to practice. There's so many just simple things.
Correct. It is it is a perishable skill.
Yeah, it's just, I can't say enough about safety and training, because people do think, okay, I can load it, unload it, I shot it, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
And
It's a common
there's
thought
more
process.
than that.
Yeah.
Now, having said this, the concealed weapon class, I haven't taken training from Kent yet. Grady's been, teaching me at the range because he did grow up with guns his whole life. But that CCW class, which I can't wait 120 days.
Yep. It's a waiting
and
process.
You know what? I did not take this class and get this concealed carry permit because I want to carry a gun all the time. I don't. But I kind of want to have the option. I wanted to learn. The class was more a learning experience. And God forbid somebody breaks into our house in the middle of the night. I don't want to be afraid. I want to know what to do to go where Grady has the gun secured. I want to know what to do to get it, because we've got an alarm system. If that alarm system goes off, there's a problem.
Correct.
And I just want, it's back to the comfortable.
It's being confident and comfortable with what you've been trained with. And so with additional training from not only inside the home, but actually out and about when you're running your errands, no matter what time of day, it's still applying the same principles.
Yeah.
Training.
Yeah, I agree. Now, headphones. This is a cool thing that we learned. Look at these headphones. Tell everybody out there what this is, because I didn't know.
So I've been using Howard Light's headphones for many years, actually a couple decades now, and they make a set of electronic headphones. These are their Bolt systems that I got from them the last time we met them at the SHOT Show a couple years ago. What's great about these, and what was interesting, is Beth had just bought a set of these to use on the range for the very first time in my class. They have built-in microphones on them, and I do highly recommend these for any shooters that are getting into the industry. The reason why is they're electronic ears, or electronic hearing protection. The microphones in the front actually allow you to keep having a conversation and let you hear everything that's going on. But if there's a bang, it dampens the speakers inside the ears and actually act as hearing protection. Then it slowly increases the volume again after the initial increase in sound, and allows you to get back to speaking at hearing at a normal level without damaging your ears. It allows the student or the people on the range to actually hear any range commands that are going on, any course direction or whatnot, but at the same time protects your ears while you're on the range.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I couldn't believe how good they worked. I put these headphones on because Grady and I had just each bought a pair, and I could hear Kent, I could hear Grady, I could hear everybody up and down the line what they were saying. But when everybody started shooting, it just dampened it.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And I'm thinking these probably would work for NASCAR.
They do use them in NASCAR. They have the bigger ones that.
That's awesome.
There's a number of pictures of on my website of me using training and instructing. You'll see me using these, and actually I use the larger ones, which should actually be awesome for what you want to use them for. In addition to shooting, they're a little bit thicker, but yeah, these are awesome. You'll see that people around the pit crews use these all the time.
Because Grady is a huge NASCAR fan, and we've been going to NASCAR ever since I met him, 2001. He introduced me to NASCAR, so I know a lot
it's
now.
fun. It's fun.
And because my ears ring a lot, so I usually put the little foam things and the headset. I can't hear anybody, but with this is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I should be able to hear, people down the road, and still not, because the cars are really hard on my ears. It's loud.
Oh, it's loud.
Did you go to NASCAR?
I have, and actually had the luxury of setting up my old wrestling promotion in the inner field there. So it was a blast. Yeah, many years ago. Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah.
That is really good. Yeah. So let's see. What else can we teach people about guns and gun safety? Any other hot tips or?
Pretty much tailing on what you were just saying earlier. If you do get a firearm, when you go to the store and you buy that first firearm, training and understanding what is coming in that box, I highly recommend to any new firearm owner taking the out of the box class. The reason why is we take that firearm, we take it apart, we teach that student everything about that firearm. So the song that they chose, as I said, it's their radio station. The song that they chose, we teach them everything about it, and it plants those seeds in regards to them understanding everything that they need to know about that firearm, to where they can feel confident in going to the next class and then getting into their training classes and applying it for defensive purposes and again, sport and whatnot. That's the big thing that I would really hit home with anyone, is that if you do get that firearm, give us a call.
Out of the box, that's the class. And when you go, tell them your website. What's your website?
It's www.gun-foo.com. So there's a hyphen between the gun and foo. You go to that website, we have our schedule up there for all of our classes, from CCW, out of the box, one with your gun, just a number of classes. We teach refuse to be a victim classes. We teach a number of classes that are out there, in addition to other defensive classes from other disciplines that I've learned and other instructors that I've learned. So that being said, we have something that fits everyone's interest and lifestyle, and that's pretty much what we base Gun Fu off of.
That's great.
It's fitting your lifestyle.
That's great. Now, when you're picking a gun, when you're choosing a gun, like you said, it's going to be different from everybody.
Correct.
But is there a difference? You see those little tiny short guns, what do they call them, Derringers?
Like little Derringers?
Like little Derringers. You have longer barrels. When you're choosing a handgun, is there a difference in protection-wise, protecting yourself? It's a little Derringer or a long barrel, or it doesn't matter? Shooting is shooting.
No, it does matter. When it comes to carrying conceal-wise, it does. There's three things that you have to take into consider: how you're going to carry it, what you're going to utilize it for, how it's concealed, and comfort. How you carry is going to determine where on your body you're going to carry your firearm. You're going to carry your firearm in a way that is comfortable and whatnot. So that leads to the second one, comfort. You want to make sure that your holster that your firearm sits in is comfortable to carry. If not, if where you're carrying it and the holster you're carrying it in, if you don't have any comfort there, you're then going to find that your firearm spends more time at home and not actually on your body. And then with concealment, obviously, if you're carrying on your body, it's your best kept secret.
That's true.
Yes, Nevada.
You don't want to tell everybody.
You don't want to tell
"Hi,
anybody,
I've
yeah.
got a gun.
Exactly.
No one needs to know. That's concealed. That's what the word means.
It's your best kept secret. And by carrying concealed, if you still have the option to open carry if you like or whatnot. I personally do not like to draw the attention to myself. I like to keep that as my best kept secret. But I do love that people exercise their rights for both sides, concealed carrying and open carry.
But you know what they may not know? Open carry is legal in Nevada.
Yes, it is.
Correct?
Yes, it is.
So as long wherever you're wearing it, or if you're carrying it, you are allowed in Nevada to carry a gun. I didn't know this.
Yep. Yeah, we have a number of students that have taken the out-of-the-box class because they were at a gas station, per se. We have a story with a friend of mine. They were at a gas station. They saw someone pumping gas that was open carrying, and they're like, we need, she goes to her husband and goes, we need to call the cops. Well, why? Well, he's got a gun. So he's allowed to carry it. And it's because people don't know.
No, they don't know.
And there's a lot of misnomers and myths and whatnot that surround even concealed carrying. And with that being said, that's where the CCW class is really good at breaking a few of those myths, but also being parts of some really good groups out there. I have a handful of friends that run a few social media-based groups that we converse and talk about a lot of topics, in addition to a handful of instructors out there that are really sound on the topics. And so it's great to get into those chats, because then you really find out where a lot of the misinformation is put out there. And there's times I hear things, I'm like, that doesn't really add up, and I go look it up in the law, and it's like, oh, okay, I can see how they misinterpret it that way. But there's a lot of information out there that interacting with these groups and people, you can actually crush a lot of these myths.
Yeah.
And so that's related to open carrying and concealed carrying.
And hence the point of taking a class, taking the CCW class, all the other classes. Do you have a phone number that people can call if they would like to get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can reach us at 702-586-2805. That's our hotline number for Gun Fu. And pretty much I'll answer that all the time. If not, there is a voicemail message you can leave there, and it will direct you to the website also. Okay,
do you want to say we're kind of running out of time, but do you want to say a few words about the range and tell them where the range is, where you teach the class? That was a great range. We'd never been there.
That's Clark County Shooting Complex.
No idea.
The Clark County Shooting Complex is a great shooting complex. They do everything from shotgun, pistol, archery, everything out there. It is a phenomenal range. That's up north. That's one of the ranges I do train. I do teach courses at, in addition to out towards Boulder City. I'm at Pro Gun Club also.
Okay.
And I do things with a number of other ranges here in the city. But my classes are more based, like I said, to fit your lifestyle, but also to fit where you're at. So I'm actually scheduling classes that are near where a lot of my students would be.
That's cool. And I noticed when we were driving up, they had that skeet shooting.
Yeah.
Now, I was telling a friend of mine, and she said, "Oh my God, I did that years ago when I was young." I'm like, "Really?" I had no idea. My friend Roxanne said she used to do that. Now, do they provide everything there, or do you have to have your own guns? Or I've never done it. I don't know anything about it.
Skeet shooting is a blast. Now, the advantage is that when you go there, you can buy not only your clays and targets and whatnot. If I'm not mistaken, I still think they allow you to rent, but I think with the current pandemic situation,
but you could call.
Yes, call ahead and get the information.
What's the name of it again?
It's Clark County Shooting Complex, and it's off of North Decatur in northern Las Vegas.
Okay, well, you know what? I hate that we're running out of time. Maybe you can come back and do another show again.
I would love to.
This would be great. But anything else you want to leave our audience with before we go?
Here's our Gun Fu logos. I brought a couple of them for you and your husband, because you guys did awesome on our range. And we got those, so you can add those to your patches and to your hats or shirts or whatnot. Yep, they're Velcro back. So
that is cool.
No, like I said, for your audience, give us a call. If you're interested, have questions, I love to provide people with information. It doesn't necessarily mean that all of our classes require firearms. There is a lot of information that can be learned even outside of having to carry one of these. So we love practicing safety as a skill. Cool. Well, thank you, Kent, for coming on our show, and I hope you all enjoyed this as much as I did. I had a great time today, and please tune in again for the best in Nevada business. Take care.